Jules. There we go. Hi, YouTube. Hello. Hello. We are back. Okay. Good night, Trey. Sleep well. Good night, Trey. Okay, let me change my mic setting. Alright, here we go. Hi, YouTube. Hello, welcome back to some more storytelling. We're going to be reading more of The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. We are so back. Cassiax, Buddha, Sean, Artax, thank you so much for watching over on YouTube. And let's get that link up, pinned up in Twitch chat. There we go. If anyone watching over on Twitch is able to open up the YouTube stream, it helps so much. It helps enormously, and is very much appreciated. You're on the West Coast, so it feels like I'm starting early for you. Yeah, no, I started late today. Normally we chat for like a bit over an hour before I go live on YouTube. I've only been live for half an hour. Yeah, I was late. I was late today. Very hectic day. Trying to sort out computer issues. I wasn't sure if I'd have my GPU back today. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to multi-stream today. Looks like we're able to do that. Things are kind of up in the air for the next couple of weeks, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to make this reading happen, because I really don't know what's going to happen with content over the next potentially few weeks. If I have to do like different troubleshooting or whatever, I might not be able to multi-stream. So that's why I want to like take every chance that I can to stick to the schedule. What's up with it? We don't really know, Max Schrader. It passed the stress test with flying colors. We're not totally sure. I've got a couple things to test here at home. Oh my god. Ass Pro Shop. Thank you for the $10.69. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. What the heck? What was that for? That was very sweet of you. That's incredibly kind. Oh my god. Lemon Balm Tea, thanks for watching over on YouTube. Yeah, it was a very busy and exhausting weekend. Lots of like errands and running around and trying to sort things out. Yeah. I'm so sore. I was texting someone and saying like I just want to be like absorbed into like a block of goo. Do you know what I mean? Just suspended in goo. Like just so that there's absolutely no pressure or stress on any of my bones or joints or muscles. Like I just want they're like the Matrix. Hell yeah. Put me to bed in an adult size amniotic pod. If it takes a little stress off my poor old bones. Oh my god, Sloth, thank you for that 25 stream streak. Right, doesn't that sound kind of nice? Sensory deprivation tank. I mean, do you float in those, or are you sitting on the bottom like a tub though? Do you know what I mean? Because I was thinking, I was like, you know, theoretically something like a jacuzzi tub or whatever, but I don't want to sit on a hard surface. Like maybe, you know, you can get those like inflatable like pillows that suction cup to your tub. If I had like a whole body length one, I could just like lie on that. Sorry, things aren't going smoothly. I appreciate the effort and consistency you put into the streams. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Sorry, it's thank you, Ass Pro. No, genuinely, that means so much. I am trying to keep up and to take care of these issues, and yeah, you guys mean a lot to me. This community and stream means so much to me, so I'm hoping that we can fix whatever's going on very soon. They have slightly less than Earth gravity? Really? Dang. Something pressing against your back would be contrary to the sensory deprivation. You're right. But for some reason I didn't think that touch was one of the senses. Like, I figured they're just talking about all the other senses. I don't know. Because, you know, they can't stop you from smelling either. Or tasting. So, it's not like truly sensory deprivation. I don't know. Max boy, Buddha, you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Buddha's being nice right now because I was feeling so stressed and kind of fragile. And I really appreciate it. The salt makes you... Oh, it's salt water. Honestly, I think I'd freak the fuck out in one of those. My ADHD would make my brain explode. Hi, Floral. Hello. How you doing? How are ya? You guys make sure you're following the wonderful Floral Ember, who does such cozy and also hilarious ASMR streams. She is so wonderful. Yeah, with Buddha, it's like, it's very consensual bullying. And we both know that if we want the other one to stop, we like just like let the other person know, like, not today. Artax, thank you for the 300 videos. What? This is the best online book club ever. Oh my god, I'm so glad you think so. Today's one of the... Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. They can't stop you from tasting sounds like a weird motivational speech. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Hi, Brian. Hello. Thank you for subscribing, Brian. And Max Raider, thank you. Thank you for watching over on YouTube. Yeah. Shy Ox is? Am I saying that right? Welcome in, Shy. Hello. Hi, good fellow Scarlet Morticia. Damn. I have black in my hair today. I don't know if you can tell. There's black as well as red in there. You see the black? It's black and red. Anyway. However you like. Okay. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Okay. Alright. Okay. Let's jump into reading. Let's jump in. We actually read a whole 4 chapters last time because that allowed us to wrap up part 1 of the Mysterious Island. And I'm pretty sure that part 2 is where we really ramp up the mystery part of this. Okay? So they basically have been speedrunning a survival strategy RPG there on this, like, ridiculously convenient island. Like, I mean, it's not convenient in that it's far away from everything else, but it has, like, everything they need really conveniently just laid out. Like, oh, here's just like a open vein of coal and like an open vein of iron ore, and like just everything they need is there. It's crazy. It has like every biome. Anyway, they have found this huge underground cathedral of a cave that they call Granite House. They have cleared it out. Winter hits, and they basically built a lot of furniture over the winter. Oh my god, Artax is gifting a lit t-shirt to chat. You guys, exclamation mark, enter for a chance to win. I'm so sorry, this is only available on Twitch, at least for the moment. But you guys, exclamation mark, enter for a chance to win a lit t-shirt. Aw, thank you, Artax. This is where they got the idea for the Star Trek episode with the corn. All the biomes and resources. I have not seen that. But, I mean, Verne is very influential. No, Artax, you do not need to apologize for doing a giveaway. That's incredibly kind of you. Oh, man. Yeah, so they've now, like, built a lot of different rooms. It's very set up. It's set up so nicely, and they got hit with a lot of rough weather. It snows there too, so they're going through the snowy season, and yet they were able to survive fairly comfortably. They're kind of now like, oh shoot, we need to make some new clothes, because they put that off until after they knew, like, iron forgery and, like, all sorts of crazy skills. You know, oh well, it's just clothing. Buddha! The Buddha! Buddha, congratulations! Heck yeah! Oh my goodness. Artax, thank you so much. Thank you so much. They've wasted so many fox furs, right? They've been hunting. They've been here for a few months, you know. They've been hunting consistently. They haven't tanned a single one of those hides. Yeah. I would have gone after that sooner and then turned all, like, the linen clothes that they had into underwear. Your wife will be glad it's not a mug or a tumbler. Yep. That's awesome. Oh, well, I hope you enjoy. You gotta sleep for work tomorrow, but you'll catch the VODs. Sounds good. Indy, I hope you have a good sleep and a good day at work tomorrow. You're still... oh yeah, Bees, thank you for the reminder. Herbert found a single grain of corn in his pocket. You got yelled at for the tumbler. I'm not taking any of this blame. You need to learn to not enter giveaways if your wife is going to yell at you if you win it. That's on you. If you're going to kill them, use the damn fur. I know. They have created a little patch of tilled ground, and they have planted the single grain, and I don't know how it survived the winter. I guess we'll find out soon. Yes, they could have been making glue from it as well. Yeah. Rum cask, thank you for the prime. Thank you for dropping your prime here. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Is it a winter crop? I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never grown corn, nor have I looked into how to grow corn, but fingers crossed. Yeah. Okay. So, oh yeah, the only other thing I have to say about this story is that Top the dog knows that some shit is up. They don't know what Top is on about, but Top is barking at things, and he is not a dog to just bark at nothing. Okay, so he knows that something is there. Something is going on, and he still is like rumbly about the big hole well that the lake used to flow through these caves and down that well into the ocean. And so that well still descends down into the depths of the ocean, and they've covered it with wood. The dog does not trust that well. So, anyway. Bestest boy top, yep. Okay, so tonight we are starting part 2, which is called The Abandoned, which is quite the gripping title. If you would like to read along with me, oh shoot, let me pin them. Pin. Pinned comment in YouTube chat. If you're watching the VOD later, it's down in the description. And if you're watching on Twitch right now, !book, and you can bring up the link. Wonderful. Thank you, Sean. I think I forgot to set it on the permanent pin over there. Yeah. Okay. Let's jump in and see what's happening. I still think that it would be a good thing to use as a toilet. I maintain that. Like, you build a wooden seat over this hole, everything just gets dropped down. Also, just put your kitchen scraps down it. It all goes out to sea. Every once in a while, get some big buckets of water and just dump it down, and like, you know, and it just like in a castle. Yeah. I don't see the problem with that. I think that's genius. What are they doing instead? This is not Gulliver's Travels, so we're not learning how they shit in this cave. But I imagine it has something to do with buckets. Why do that? You've got a perfect poop chute set up already. Yeah. It would contaminate the fish. It's not, no, not that much. From a few guys, no. I mean, I wouldn't fish right there, underneath the well, but like on the other side of the island or something, it's fine. The best way is to bury it and grind shells up and put the powder on the mounds. Huh? And then harvest you bury your shit, and then you grind up seashells, and you put the ground up seashell powder over the disturbed earth where you've buried your shit. And then how do you harvest the acid from that? And what do you use that acid for? Would the fish eat the poo? Okay. I feel like we're getting a little off topic. I feel like we don't need to go like fully down this route of questioning. The point is they're not shitting in the well. Oh, okay, well, I was not saying, you know, I don't know about using shit crystals. We're starting to, Aspro. No, it's not. We're on track. Okay. Okay. We're good. We're so good. We're so good. Okay. Stop it, Dweeb. Part 2. The Abandoned. Stop it, you guys. trying to do a clean start here. Okay? Chapter 23. It was exactly 7 months since the passengers in the balloon had been thrown upon Lincoln Island. In all this time, no human being had been seen. No smoke had betrayed the presence of man upon the island. No work of man's hands, either ancient or modern, had attested his passage. Not only did it seem uninhabited at present, but it appeared to have been so always. And now all the framework of deductions fell before a little bit of metal found in the body of a pig. Oh yeah, that was the real cliffhanger. Oh my god, we just went through so much. They killed a pig. It's first thaw. Pencroff kills a mama pig and her 2 little sucklings, and they're butchering the pig, and there is a lead pellet in it. Right. What do they... Oh my god, you guys. He could have captured and raised that. Look, I would have done things differently, but I'm also overall less clever and efficient than these men, so I don't feel like I can really strongly criticize what they're doing. Hi Jake, why are you calling me Gail? What? Oh, was that autocorrect? I was like, who the fuck is Gail? Okay. Blue Frost, I'm so excited about Guild Wars 3. I'm so excited. Oh my god. We're getting off track again. I'm so excited. Can I hypnotize you? Yes, I can, with story time. Okay. Before a little bit of metal found in the body of a pig. It was certainly a bullet from a gun. And what but a human being would be so provided? When Pencroff had placed it upon the table, his companions looked at it with profound astonishment. The possibilities suggested by this seemingly trivial incident flashed before them. The sudden appearance of a supernatural being could not have impressed them more. Smith instantly began to reason upon the theories which this incident, as surprising as it was unexpected, suggested. Taking the bit of lead between his fingers, he turned it round and round about for some time before he spoke. "You are sure, Pencroff," he asked at length, "that the peccary was hardly 3 months old?" "Oh, I'm sure, sir," answered the sailor. "It was sucking its mother when I found it in the ditch." "Well then, that proves that within 3 months, a gun has been fired upon Lincoln Island. And that the bullet has wounded, though not mortally, this little animal," added Spilett. "Undoubtedly," replied Smith. "And now, let us see what conclusions are to be drawn from this incident. Either the island was inhabited before our arrival, or men have landed here within 3 months. How these men arrived, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, whether by landing or by shipwreck, cannot be settled at present. Neither have we any means of determining whether they are Europeans or Malays, friends or enemies, nor do we know whether they are living here at present or whether they have gone. But these questions are too important to be allowed to remain undecided." "No!" cried the sailor, springing from the table. "There can be no men besides ourselves on Lincoln Island. Why, the island is not large, and if it had been inhabited, we must have met some one of its people before this. It would indeed be astonishing if we had not, said Herbert. But it would be much more astonishing, I think, remarked the reporter, if this little beast had been born with a bullet in its body. Unless, suggested Neb seriously, Pencroff had it. How's that, Neb? Interrupted the sailor. I, to have had a bullet in my jaw for 5 or 6 months without knowing it? Where would it have been? He added, opening his mouth and displaying the 32 splendid teeth that ornamented it. Look, Neb, and if you can find one broken in the whole set, you may pull out half a dozen. Neb's theory is inadmissible, said Smith, who, in spite of the gravity of his thoughts, could not restrain a smile. It is certain that a gun has been discharged on the island within 3 months, but I am bound to believe that the persons on this island have been here but a short time, or else simply landed in passing, as had the island had inhabitants when we made the ascent to Mount Franklin, we must have seen them, or been seen. It is more probable that within the past few weeks some people have been shipwrecked somewhere upon the coast. The thing, therefore, is to discover this point. I think we should act cautiously, said the reporter. I think so too, replied Smith, as I fear that they must be Malay pirates. How would it do, Mr. Smith, said the sailor, to build a canoe so that we could go up this river, or, if needs be, round the coast? It won't do to be taken unawares. Well, it's a good idea, answered the engineer, but we've not the time now. It would take at least a month to build a canoe. A regular one, yes, rejoined the sailor, but we don't want it to stand the sea. I will guarantee to make one in less than 5 days that will do to use on the Mercy. Build a boat in 5 days, cried Neb. Yes, Neb, one of Indian fashion. Of wood, demanded Neb, still incredulous. Of wood, or what is better, of bark, answered Pencroff. Indeed, Mr. Smith, it could be done in 5 days. Be it so, then, answered the engineer. In 5 days. But we must look out for ourselves in the meantime, said Herbert. With the utmost caution, my friends, answered Smith, and be very careful to confine your hunting expeditions to the neighborhood of Granite House. The dinner was finished in lower spirits than Pencroff had expected. The incident of the bullet proved beyond doubt that the island had been, or was now, inhabited by others, and such a discovery awakened the liveliest anxiety in the breasts of the colonists. Smith and Spilett, before retiring, had a long talk about these things. They questioned if, by chance, this incident had a connection with the unexplained rescue of the engineer, and other strange events which they had encountered in so many ways. Smith, after having discussed the pros and cons of the question, ended by saying, "In short, Spilett, do you want to know my opinion?" "Yes, Cyrus." "Well, this is it. No matter how minutely we examine the island, we will find nothing." Pencroff began his work the next day. He did not mean to build a boat with ribs and planks, but simply a flat-bottomed float, which would do admirably in the Mercy, especially in the shallow water and its sources. Strips of bark fastened together would be sufficient for their purpose, and in places where a portage would be necessary, the affair would be neither heavy nor cumbersome. The sailor's idea was to fasten the strips of bark together with clinched nails, and thus to make the craft staunch. With the lead and the acid, you could make a crude battery. Are you still talking about the poop acid? Because they haven't actually made that. Yeah, like a bark canoe. Oh yeah, oh yes. Damn. Artax? Artax has won Clipper of the Week. And there's no one in second or third place. It's just Artax. Artax, you get free triggers for the next week. Once again. Hell yeah. You put the stickers on your Nintendo Switch 2 docking station? Heck yeah, Warren. That's awesome. Yay. Thank you, Sean. You can't clip shit. Are you on mobile? You stream at a bad time. I beg your actual pardon. Nah, there is no perfect time to stream, you guys. Half the time I got people saying, oh, stream earlier, and then the other, oh, stream later. Yeah. Are you going to bed? Oh, you're saying I stream at bedtime? Yes, I do. Yeah. Because a lot of people fall asleep to this. It's cozy sleep content. Between 4 and 5 p.m. What? Yeah, but well, we'll see. We'll see how my schedule, if my schedule changes in the future. It's possible. Oh, Emhorn, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy it. We'll see, you guys. We'll see. Okay. The first thing was to select trees furnishing a supple and tough bark. Now, it had happened that the last storm had blown down a number of Douglas pines, which were perfectly adapted to this purpose. Some of these lay prone upon the earth, and all the colonists had to do was to strip them of their bark, though this indeed was somewhat difficult on account of the awkwardness of their tools. While the sailor, assisted by the engineer, was thus occupied, Herbert and Spilett, who had been made purveyors to the colony, were not idle. The reporter could not help admiring the young lad, who had acquired a remarkable proficiency in the use of the bow and arrows, and who exhibited, withal, considerable hardiness and coolness. The two hunters, remembering the caution of the engineer, never ventured more than 2 miles from Granite House, but the outskirts of the forest furnished a sufficient supply of agoutis, cabiais, kangaroos, peccaries, etc., and although the traps had not done so well since the cold had abated, the warren furnished a supply sufficient for the wants of the colonists. Hi, Cage. Hi, Sierra. Often, while on these excursions, Herbert conversed with Spilett about the incident of the bullet and of the engineer's conclusions, and one day, the 26th of October, he said, "Don't you think it strange, Mr. Spilett, that any people should have been wrecked upon this island and never have followed up the coast to Granite House?" "Very strange, if they are still here," answered the reporter, "but not at all astonishing if they're not." "Then you think they have gone again?" "It is likely, my boy, that if they had stayed any time, or were still here, something would have discovered their presence." "But if they had been able to get off again, they were not really shipwrecked." "No, Herbert, they were what I should call shipwrecked temporarily. That is, it is possible that they were driven by stress of weather upon the island, without having to abandon their vessel, and when the wind moderated, they set out again." "One thing is certain," said Herbert, "and that is that Mr. Smith has always seemed to dread, rather than to desire, the presence of human beings on our island. The reason is that he knows that only Malays frequent these seas, and these gentlemen are a kind of rascal that had better be avoided. Is it not possible, sir, that sometime we will discover traces of their landing and perhaps be able to settle this point? Is not unlikely, my boy. An abandoned camp or the remains of a fire, we would certainly notice. And these are what we will look for on our exploration. The hunters, talking in this way, found themselves in a portion of the forest near the Mersey. Among others were those magnificent conifera called by the New Zealanders kauris, rising more than 200 feet in height. "I have an idea, Mr. Spilett," said Herbert. "Supposing I climb to the top of one of these kauris, I could see perhaps for a good ways." "It's a good idea," answered the other. "But can you climb one of these giants?" "I'm going to try anyhow," exclaimed the boy, springing upon the lower branches of one, which grew in such a manner as to make the tree easy to mount. In a few minutes he was in its top, high above all the surrounding leafage of the forest. From this height, the eye could take in all the southern portion of the island between Claw Cape on the southeast and Reptile Promontory on the southwest. To the northwest rose Mount Franklin, shutting out more than 1/4 of the horizon. But Herbert, from his perch, could overlook the very portion of the island which was giving, or had given, refuge to the strangers whose presence they suspected. "Ma'am, are you okay? Are you eating too fast?" Could you hear that? Did you hear the little cough? "Are you okay? Ma'am, your mouth is a little too full." "Okay." You seem to have gotten a handle of it now. No, she's absolutely fine. Where's the cloud cam? Like, she's just at the food bowl, and she just had to clear her throat whilst eating. Okay. Hi, Jake. Yeah, what's up? If they were just on the other side of England and didn't know it. I mean, they are able to tell from the sky, from the constellations, that they're in the southern hemisphere. Oh. What's my favorite cat breed? Okay. I know this is bad of me. I really like Scottish Folds. I know it's like unethical for them to exist. But they look really cute and dumb. Why do I have a chalice? Because I need to drink from something. Okay. The lad looked about him with great attention, first towards the sea, where not a sail was visible, although it was possible that a ship, and especially one dismasted, lying close into shore, would be concealed from view by the trees which hid the coast. In the woods of the far west, nothing could be seen. The forest formed a vast, impenetrable dome, many miles in extent, without an opening or glade. Even the course of the Mersey could not be seen, and it might be that there were other streams flowing westward which were equally visible. I live in a free jamming. No, that's not the problem. That's not the problem. But other signs failing, could not the lad catch in the air some smoke which would indicate the presence of man? But the atmosphere was pure, and the slightest vapor was sharply outlined against the sky. For an instant, Herbert thought he saw a thin film rising in the west, but a more careful observation convinced him that he was mistaken. He looked again, however, with all care, and his sight was excellent. No, certainly it was nothing. Herbert climbed down the tree, and he and the reporter returned to Granite House. There, Smith listened to the lad's report without comment. It was plain he would not commit himself until after the island had been explored. 2 days later, the 28th of October, another uncontrollable incident happened. In strolling along the beach, 2 miles from Granite House, Herbert and Neb had been lucky enough to capture a splendid specimen of the Colonia Midas, or green turtle, whose carapace shone with emerald reflections. Herbert had caught sight of it moving among the rocks towards the sea. "Stop him, Neb, stop him!" he cried. Neb ran to it. "It's a fine animal," said Neb, "but how are we going to keep it?" "Well, that's easy enough, Neb. All we have to do is turn it on its back, and then it cannot get away. Take your spear and do as I do." The reptile had shut itself in its shell so that neither its head nor eyes were visible, and remained motionless as a rock. The lad and the man placed their spears underneath it, and after some difficulty succeeded in turning it over. It measured 3 feet in length and must have weighed at least 400 pounds. What the heck are you doing, Finch? What are you doing? What is this? What have you done? What have you done? These aren't even all mine. I've never said Xbox game. That's not a command I have. Some of these are mine. Hacks? Faolkor that kills people. Hi, Green Goblin. Thanks for the follow. Can someone do !Xbox game? I want to see what it does. Game Dr-2 Clinic ASMR? What? You guys, do it. It's safe, right? It's the Microsoft Store. What is this? The Magic 8 Ball says, "Ask your mother?" What the hell? What is happening? Finch? You couldn't just sit quietly on the carpet during story time, could you? No. You had to open the weird box in the corner. It's circle time now, Finch. Sit your ass down. Which bot was posting as me? Oh, that still mixed it up, but that was only happening in YouTube. And the reason is, Mix It Up can either post as the streamer or as a bot account that you set up for it. Oh, yeah. Each command, I can choose whether it is sent from me or from Thaddeus. that one, because I wanted to talk in first person, I sent it, it's from me. I can individualize that for each command. It's the same bot, though. Okay. Okay. They caught a turtle. There, that will please Pencroff, cried Neb. Indeed, the sailor could not fail to be pleased, as the flesh of these turtles, which fed upon eel grass, is very savory. Now, what can we do with our game? Asked Neb. We can't carry it to Granite House. Leave it here, since it cannot turn back again, answered Herbert, and we will come for it with the cart. They're just leaving the turtle on its back? Until they come back for it? That's so mean. That's horrible. That's horrible of them. Really rude. Okay. Neb agreed, and Herbert, as an extra precaution, which Neb thought useless, propped up the reptile with large stones. Then the two returned to Granite House, following the beach on which the tide was down. Herbert, wishing to surprise Pencroff, did not tell him of the prize which was lying on its back upon the sand. But 2 hours later, Neb and he returned with the cart to where they had left it. And the splendid specimen of Colonia Midas was not there. Ha! Get fucked. Maybe its turtle friends came and saved it the way that they do when they get all up on their shell. Okay, banana. Jane, it's been happening the whole time. It's not my fault. It's mostly not my fault. The two looked about them. Certainly, this was where they had left it. Here were the stones he had used, and therefore the lad could not be mistaken. Did we turn the beast over after all? Asked Ned. Well, it seems so, replied Herbert, puzzled, and examining the stones scattered over the sand. Pencroff will be disappointed, and Mr. Smith will be troubled to explain this, thought Herbert. Well, said Neb, who wished to conceal their misadventure, we won't say anything about it. Indeed, we will tell the whole story, answered Herbert, and taking with them the useless cart, they returned to Granite House. At the shipyard, they found the engineer and the sailor working together. Herbert related all that happened. You foolish fellows, cried the sailor, to let at least 50 pounds of soup escape. But Pencroff, exclaimed Neb, it was not our fault that the reptile got away. Haven't I told you we turned it on its back? Then you didn't turn it enough, calmly asserted the stubborn sailor. Not enough, cried Herbert, and he told them how he had taken care to prop the turtle up with stones. Then it was a miracle, exclaimed Pencroff. Mr. Smith, asked Herbert, I thought that turtles, once placed on their backs, could not get over again, especially the very large ones. That is the fact, answered Smith. Then how far off from the sea did you leave this turtle? Asked the engineer, who had stopped working and was turning this incident over in his mind. About 15 feet, answered Herbert. And it was low water? Yes, sir. Well, responded the engineer, what the turtle could not do on land, he could do in water. When the tide rose over him, he turned over and tranquilly paddled off. How foolish we are, cried Neb. This is just what I said you were, answered Pencroff. Micah, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. What happened to the soup? It tranquilly paddled off. I have to say, this is a horrible thing to say, because it's like illegal. But I really want to know what turtle soup tastes like, or turtle in general. Apparently it's so delicious. I mean, I wouldn't have it, but apparently it's just so good. Monty, oh my goodness, Monty, thank you for the resub. 32 months now. Monty, thank you. Oh man. They talked about it a lot in the Ninja Turtles. No, it was like a historical thing that, like, sailors would get in trouble because they'd stock up a bunch of turtles going back, like back up to Europe or whatever, and a lot of the turtles would be gone by the time they got there because they're like so delicious they couldn't help eating them. You refuse to eat octopus? Oh, see, I eat octopus. It doesn't really don't believe what the big turtle tells you. It's supposed to be like so like buttery and like yeah, they would like stack them in the hold. I don't know exactly how. Okay. Smith had given this explanation, which was doubtless admissible, but was he himself satisfied with it? He did not venture to say that. Okay. That was a very interrupted chapter. There was a lot of chatting. Hi, General Ratio. Misty, hi, welcome in, Raiders. Misty Maps. Hello, hello, hello. Their shell is already the shape of a soup bowl, right? It's like they're begging to be made into soup. I'm joking. Hello, Misty. I am doing alright. How are you? How was your stream tonight? Artex, thank you for those 100 biddies. Dermomo, hello. Frijol, welcome. What were you guys getting up to tonight? First ASMR stream in 2 months. You feel great? Hell yeah. You guys make sure you're dropping a follow for Misty Maps so that you can check her out when she goes live next. Lots of yapping and echo at the end. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. We talked about you in Misty's stream. Uh-oh. I mean, you rated over here, so it can't have been terrible. Hi, Lockdown. Well, welcome in, everyone. I'm Faolkor the Book Dragon. We do a mixture of traditional ASMR triggers and cozy story time. So you have rated in during the cozy story time, but we will be opening up triggers once we're done reading. We're currently reading The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne, which is a sequel to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But you don't have to have read 20,000 Leagues. Like, so far, we just started part 2, and so far there's nothing that suggests that it's a sequel. But apparently at some point it will become apparent. It's not yet, but apparently it will be at some point. So, yeah. Lockdown, thank you for watching over on YouTube. Yes, I am also live over on YouTube for anyone who wants to open up the stream over there. Really helps with my goal to unlock the YouTube partner program. So really appreciate it whenever anyone is able to do that. You're counting on top. The dog is gonna be the real hero of this book. I feel certain. You'll be getting some food and lurking. Oh my goodness, yes, get something lovely to eat, and make sure to rest and take care of yourself after your stream. I'm so happy that your ASMR stream went so well. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the raid. All right, so we just finished a chapter. You guys came in nicely on a chapter break. We'll probably read 2 more chapters before we start opening up triggers again. So I'm just going to close my window because it is starting to get a little cold on my tootsies, and also kind of loud. So 1 sec. Nim's just still eating. She's just still eating. That's it. That's all that's going on over there right now. What anime have you enjoyed? So I haven't watched a lot of anime, but it's been a while since I've watched an anime. But I absolutely loved Full Metal Alchemist, and actually one that I really liked, apparently there's a remake, I need to watch the remake, but I really liked Spice and Wolf. So yeah, I need to check out the remake of that. Yeah, but I haven't watched a lot of like anime series, right? Yeah. Okay. Chapter 24. On the 29th of October, the canoe was finished. Pencroff had kept his word and had built, in 5 days, a sort of bark shell stiffened with flexible crehimba rods, a seat at either end, another midway to keep it open, a gunwale for the thole pins of a pair of oars, and a paddle to steer with, completed this canoe, which was 12 feet in length and did not weigh 200 pounds. "Hurrah!" cried the sailor, quite ready to applaud his own success. "With this, we can make the tour of the world," suggested Spilett. "No, but of the island, with some stones for ballast, a mast in the bow, with a sail which Mr. Smith will make some day, and away we'll go. But now, let us try our new ship, for we must see if it will carry all of us." The experiment was made. Pencroff, by a stroke of the paddle, brought the canoe close to the shore by a narrow passage between the rocks, and he was confident that they could at once make a trial trip of the craft by following the bank as far as the lower point where the rocks ended. As they were stepping in, Neb cried, "But your boat leaks, Pencroff." "Oh, that's nothing, Neb," answered the sailor. "The wood has to drink, but in 2 days it will not show, and there will be as little water in our canoe as in the stomach of a drunkard. Come, get in." They all embarked, and Pencroff pushed off. The weather was splendid. The sea was as calm as a lake, and the canoe could venture upon it with as much security as upon the tranquil current of the Mersey. Neb and Herbert took the oars, and Pencroff sat in the stern with the paddle as steersman. The sailor crossed the channel and rounded the southern point of the islet. A gentle breeze was wafted from the south. There were no billows, but the canoe rose and fell with the long undulations of the sea, and they rowed out half a mile from the coast so as to get a view of the outline of Mount Franklin. Then, putting about, Pencroff returned toward the mouth of the river and followed along the rounded shore which hid the low marshy ground of Tadorn's Fen. The point, made longer by the bend of the coast, was 3 miles from the Mersey, and the colonists resolved to go past it far enough to obtain a hasty glance at the coast as far as Claw Cape. The canoe followed along the shore, keeping off some 2 cables' length so as to avoid the line of rocks beginning to be covered by the tide. The cliff, beginning at the mouth of the river, lowered as it approached the promontory. It was a savage-looking, unevenly arranged heap of granite blocks, very different from the curtain of Prospect Plateau. There was not a trace of vegetation on this sharp point, which projected 2 miles beyond the forest, like a giant's arm thrust out from a green sleeve. The canoe sped easily along. Spilett sketched the outline of the coast in his notebook, and Neb, Pencroff, and Herbert discussed the features of their new domain, and as they moved southward, the 2 mandible capes seemed to shut together and enclose Union Bay. As to Smith, he regarded everything in silence, and from his distrustful expression, it seemed as if he was observing some suspicious land. Johnny, thank you for that 20-stream streak. Heck yeah, thank you. Cloud is love. Cloud is the queen. You guys want some good news? Cloud is regrowing hair on her sides. She's got a bunch of, it's like a little like buzz cut length, you know? But she's regrowing hair. Yes. That's a really good sign that the injections worked. Can she teach you that trick? I mean, is your hair loss caused by hormones, and could you take some hormone treatment to reverse it? Maybe. I mean, we don't know for sure like how effective the injections will be, but she does seem to have like perked up since having them, and she is regrowing the hair, which is a good sign that her hormones are like back on track. So it's a good sign. Oh, thank you, Vortex. I love her so much. Okay. What's the next pet you will get? Probably another guinea pig. The canoe had reached the end of the point and was about doubling it when Herbert rose and, pointing out a black object, said, "What is that down there on the sand?" Everyone looked in the direction indicated. "There is something there indeed," said the reporter. "It looks like a wreck, half buried in the sand." "Oh, I see what it is," cried Pencroff. "What?" asked Neb. "Barrels. They're barrels, and maybe they're full." "To shore, Pencroff," said Smith. And with a few strokes the canoe was driven into a little cove, and the party went up the beach. Pencroff was not mistaken. There were 2 barrels, half buried in the sand, but firmly fastened to them was a large box, which, borne up by them, had been floated onto the shore. "Has there been a shipwreck here?" asked Herbert. "Evidently," answered Spilett. "But what is in this box?" exclaimed Pencroff with a natural impatience. "What is in this box? Oh, it's closed, and we have nothing with which to raise the lid. However, with a stone and the sailor picked up a heavy rock and was about to break one of the sides when the engineer, stopping him, said, "Cannot you moderate your impatience for about an hour, Pencroff?" "But think, Mr. Smith. Maybe there's everything we want in it." "Bro just wants a barrel full of guns. That's all he wants in the world." "Hi, Leia. Hi, Lit Shroud. Hello." "We will find out, Pencroff," answered the engineer. "But do not break the box, as it will be useful." That's a good point, man. A box, that is very useful. Let us transport it to Granite House, where we can readily open it without injuring it. It's all prepared for the voyage, and since it has floated here, it can float again to the river mouth. "You are right, sir, and I'm wrong," answered the sailor. "But one is not always his own master." The engineer's advice was good. It was likely that the canoe could not carry the things probably enclosed in the box, since the latter was so heavy that it had to be buoyed up by 2 empty barrels. It was, therefore, better to tow it in this condition to the shore at the Granite House. And now, the important question was, from whence came this jetsam? Smith and his companions searched the beach for several hundred paces, but there was nothing to be seen. They scanned the sea, Herbert and Neb climbing up a high rock, but not a sail was visible on the horizon. Nevertheless, okay, sorry. Nevertheless, there must have been a shipwreck, and perhaps this incident was connected with the incident of the bullet. Perhaps the strangers had landed upon another part of the island. Perhaps they were still there. But the natural conclusion of the colonists was that these strangers could not be Malay pirates, since the jetsam was evidently of European or American production. They all went back to the box, which measured 5 feet by 3. It was made of oak, covered with large leather, studded with copper nails. The 2 large barrels, hermetically sealed, but which sounded empty, were fastened to its side by means of strong ropes, tied in what Pencroff recognized to be sailors' knots. That it was uninjured seemed to be accounted for by the fact of its having been thrown upon the sand instead of the rocks, and it was evident that it had not been long either in the sea or upon the beach. It seemed probable, also, that the water had not penetrated, and that its contents would be found uninjured. It therefore looked as if this box must have been thrown overboard from a disabled ship making for the island, and in the hope that it would reach the island where they would find it later, the passengers had taken the precaution to buoy it up. Mayank, hello. Is a comment distracting her? No, you can comment if you'd like. Welcome. "We will tow this box to Granite House," said the engineer, "and take an inventory of its contents. Then, if we discover any of the survivors of this supposed shipwreck, we will return them what is theirs. If we find no one, we will keep the things ourselves," cried the sailor. "I wish I knew what was in it." The sailor was already working at the prize, which would doubtless float at high water. One of the ropes, which was fastened to the barrels, was partly untwisted and served to fasten these latter to the canoe. Then Neb and Pencroff dug out the sand with their oars, and soon the canoe, with the jetsam in tow, was rounding the promontory, to which they gave the name of Jetsam Point. The box was so heavy that the barrels just sufficed to sustain it above the water, and Pencroff feared each moment that it would break loose and sink to the bottom. Fortunately, his fears were groundless, and in an hour and a half, the canoe touched the bank before Granite House. The boat and the prize were drawn upon the shore, and as the tide was beginning to fall, both soon rested on dry ground. Neb brought some tools so as to open the box without injury, and the colonists forthwith proceeded to examine its contents. Pencroff did not try to hide his anxiety. He began by unfastening the barrels, which would be useful in the future. Then the fastenings were forced with pincers and the cover taken off. A second envelope of zinc was enclosed within the case in such a manner that its contents were impervious to moisture. "Oh," cried Pencroff, "well, they must be preserves which are inside." "I hope for something better than that," answered the reporter. "What if it should turn out that there was—" muttered the sailor. "What?" asked Neb. "Nothing." The zinc cover was split lengthwise and turned back, and little by little, many different objects were lifted out on the sand. At each new discovery, Pencroff cheered, Herbert clapped his hands, and Neb danced. There were books, which made the lad crazy with pleasure, and cooking implements, which Neb covered with kisses. In truth, the colonists had reason to be satisfied. Lit Shroud? I know, books, what the heck? Lit Shroud, thank you so much for the resub. Thank you. Oh my goodness. In truth, the colonists had reason to be satisfied, as the following inventory, copied from Spilett's notebook, will show. Tools: 3 pocket knives with several blades, 2 wood chopper's hatchets, 2 carpenter's hatchets, 3 planes, 1 adze, 1 axe, 6 cold chisels, 2 files, 3 hammers, 3 gimlets, 2 augers, 10 bags of nails and screws, 3 saws of different sizes, 2 boxes of needles. Oh, that's great. Arms: 2 flintlock guns, 2 percussion guns, 2 central fire carbines, 5 cutlasses, 4 boarding sabers, 2 barrels of powder holding 15 pounds each, 12 boxes of caps. Instruments: 1 sextant, 1 opera glass, 1 spyglass, 1 box compass, 1 pocket compass, 1 Fahrenheit thermometer, 1 aneroid barometer, 1 box containing a photographic apparatus together with glasses, chemicals, etc. Clothing: 2 dozen shirts of a peculiar material resembling wool, though evidently a vegetable substance, 3 dozen stockings of the same material. Utensils: 1 iron pot, 6 tinned copper stew pans, 3 iron plates, 10 aluminum knives and forks, 2 kettles, 1 small portable stove, 5 table knives. Books: 1 Bible, 1 atlas, 1 dictionary of Polynesian languages, 1 dictionary of the natural sciences, 3 reams of blank paper, 2 blank books. What is this island, man? It already is like the most convenient, like this island has everything there. Not only that, but they get a shipment from the gods that just has everything. The game master, like, loves them. Okay, Mortem. It was a big... Well, the barrels, there were 2 barrels that were empty just for buoyancy. This was all in a huge waterproof box. The barrels were attached to the box to help the box float because the box was so heavy. You always get the ammo refill and heals before the boss fight. This is crazy. This is so much good stuff. Jeez. Thank you for the 100 biddies, Artax. Okay, Leah. Oh my goodness. Happy birthday. Yeah, are you going to be around after the reading section? Happy birthday. You will be? Okay, wonderful. We will do that. We will do that. Nice. Okay. Unquestionably, said the reporter after the inventory had been taken, the owner of this box was a practical man. Tools, arms, instruments, clothing, utensils, books, nothing is wanting. One would say that he had made ready for a shipwreck beforehand. Indeed, nothing, indeed, is wanting, murmured Smith thoughtfully. And it is a sure thing, added Herbert, that the ship that brought this box was not a Malay pirate. Well, unless its owner had been taken prisoner, said Pencroff. Well, that is not likely, answered the reporter. It is more probable that an American or European ship has been driven to this neighborhood, and that the passengers, wishing to save what was at least necessary, have prepared this box and have thrown it overboard. And do you think so, Mr. Smith? Asked Herbert. Yes, my boy, answered the engineer. That might have been the case. It is possible that, anticipating a shipwreck, this chest has been prepared, so that it might be found again on the coast. But the photographic apparatus, observed the sailor incredulously. As to that, answered the engineer, I do not see its use. What we, as well as any other shipwrecked person, would have valued more would have been a greater assortment of clothing and more ammunition. But have none of these things any mark by which we can tell where they came from? Asked Spilett. They looked to see. Each article was examined attentively, but, contrary to custom, neither books, instruments, nor arms had any name or mark. Nevertheless, they were in perfect order, and seemed never to have been used. So also with the tools and utensils. Everything was new, and this went to prove that the things had not been hastily thrown together in the box, but that their selection had been made thoughtfully and with care. This also was evident from the zinc case, which had kept everything watertight, and which could not have been soldered in a moment. You don't trust this island's luck. I know. I'm Minnesota girl. The 2 dictionaries and the Bible were in English, and the latter showed that it had been often read. The atlas was a splendid work, containing maps of every part of the world, and many charts laid out on Mercator's projection. The nomenclature in this book was in French, but neither in it nor in any of the others did the name of the editor or publisher appear. The colonists, therefore, were unable to even conjecture the nationality of the ship that had so recently passed near them. But no matter where it came from, this box enriched the party on Lincoln Island. Until now, in transforming the products of nature, they had created everything for themselves, and had succeeded by their own intelligence. Did it not now seem as if Providence had intended to reward them by placing these diverse products of human industry in their hands. Therefore, with one accord, they all rendered thanks to heaven. Hi, Zen. I'm glad you find it cozy here, Lich. Hi, Trace. No, I ain't. Hi, Unk Guy. And Ash, thanks for watching over on YouTube. Deep Fried, thanks for watching on YouTube. Hi. Nevertheless, Pencroff was not entirely set. What do you mean you're not set? Pencroff, all you've wanted is guns. And there's multiple guns. What do you mean you're not satisfied? Pencroff, what? What? What do you mean? Oh, good night, Buddha. He wants more guns. Oh my god. Night, Buddha. Good night, good night. Sleep well. Next, women arrive with booze, and then the sailors finally satisfied. Fair enough. Oh, man. Nevertheless, Pencroff was not entirely satisfied. It appeared that the box did not contain something to which he attached an immense importance, and as its contents, I think that's supposed to say contents. It says contests. And as its contents lessened, his cheers had become less hearty, and when the inventory was closed, he murmured, "Oh, that's all very fine, but you see, there is nothing for me here." "Why, what did you expect, Pencroff?" exclaimed Neb. "Oh, a half-pound of tobacco," answered the sailor, "and then I would have been perfectly happy." The discovery of this jetsam made the thorough exploration of the island more necessary than ever. It was therefore agreed that they should set out early the next morning, proceeding to the western coast via the Mersey. Yeah, he got his guns, but he didn't get his baccy. Damn. Hi, Brian. You were gonna guess Vegemite? They're American. They're American. They would not have Vegemite. If anyone had been shipwrecked on that part of the island, they were doubtless without resources, and help must be given them at once. During the day, the contents of the box... Sorry. I'm like feeling like I have to yawn and sneeze at the same time. Okay. During the day, the contents of the box were carried to Granite House. And arranged in order in the Great Hall. And that evening, the 29th of October, Herbert, before retiring, asked Mr. Smith to read some passages from the Bible. "Gladly," answered the engineer, taking the sacred book in his hands, when Pencroff, checking him, said, "Mr. Smith, I am superstitious. Open the book at random and read the first verse which you meet with. We will see if it applies to our situation." Smith smiled at the words of the sailor, but yielding to his wishes, he opened the Bible where the marker lay between the leaves. Just using the Bible like a deck of tarot cards there. Hi, Lemon Slut. Hello, hello. You do have Vegemite and Marmite? Yeah, but aren't they like niche things? Like I'm sure you can get them. Like you can get them here too, but it's not something that very many people eat here. How's it going, slut? Instantly his eye fell upon a red cross made with a crayon opposite the 8th verse of the 7th chapter of St. Matthew. He read these words: "For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth." End of chapter. Brian, thank you for that 15 stream streak. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you. I've never tried Vegemite. I did try Marmite when I was living in the UK. It was fucking disgusting. Anyway. Well then. Okay, you guys, I would like to read one more chapter. But I need just a minute, okay? We're gonna take like a 1-minute break. Nim, how are you still eating? Nimbus, you've been at that bowl for like an hour straight. Nim, you're like more hunched over it than you were before. How are you? Nimbus. That's some crazy work. Okay, I'll be right back. I leave you with a hungry pig. Hello. Okay, yeah, okay. It's just that one rotating message that gets pinned. I literally just ate half a protein bar. Thank you for checking, Sean. I definitely haven't had enough today, but I'll have a bigger meal later. I just took my iron pill as well. You want one? No, they're all mine. They're all mine. They're so tasty though. I highly recommend them. So tasty. Oh. Well, Vengeful, I was just on a break, so if you were saying things, I wasn't at my computer. Like, I was standing up in the other room. So, I wouldn't have seen anything. And also, I'm not as attentive to messages while I'm reading. No, I can see your messages. I think I've just been missing them. Like, it's never personal. It is sometimes tough to, see all the messages. And then, I mean, I've got an announcement thing. Sorry, I'm displeased with my hair. I've got an announcement thing that's like, oh, Faolkor gets distracted when reading. It's hard to pay attention to the book, and also chat, and also, yeah, it's just, there's a lot going on. So, please don't take it personally. Oof. Twitch does be twitching. I mean, it's possible, but I'm seeing all your messages now. I think this is just the streamer fault, and I'm sorry about that. I am sorry about that. Yeah. Dude, my hair is so awkwardly between, look at this awkward, horrible bangs. You just bought some premium Canadian catnip? We are known for our premium catnip. M. Horn, I will have to at some point, okay? Not yet, though. We've got at least a couple hours left, probably. Well, I don't know. I might give in and just cut my bangs back. I'm getting impatient with how awful they look in this mid-stage. My Canadian. Oh yeah, bud. My bangs do not look... Sean, you're very sweet. But that's obviously a blatant lie. Because they're not even cut into, like, intentional curtain bangs. It's just bangs that are, like, at this choppy length. Just do what I did today. Give yourself a buzz cut. Did you do that today, Ash? You gave yourself a buzz cut? Damn. No, I would look terrible with a buzz cut. I don't have the skull shape to pull it off. Oh my god, can you marry me so I can get the fuck out of the USA, please? Oh, no, but you have my condolences. There are horses that grow mustaches. Yeah. Wait, why are we saying free the nip? Oh, catnip. Are you talking wordy to us tonight? Always. Always. That's what we do. What, I'm marrying Cupcake? To get you out? Are you also in the States, Cupcake? Oh gosh. This is a lot of spouses. Yeah, you gotta get your cats that BC bud. I don't know if you've ever heard of a German industrial band called Blutengel. No. Oh, cool. Wait, that's rad. I'll have to check them out. I'm worried that I won't, though, because I'm terrible at following up on those things. But I'd like to. You'll marry someone, but you're in the US. You don't know if it helps in this particular instance. What about you? Do you need marriage as well? How many people need marriage? Brother husbands. Your bangs have receded toward the back of your head. Okay, you're right. But I feel like I might crumble and give myself bangs again. Oh, Blood Angel. Wait. Yeah. You don't need it, but you'd like it. There may be other ways for you guys to move to Canada without, like, marrying someone you've never met before. And Warren, I know. But it's gotta come to an end at some point. Yeah, no, we'll do like a whole reality show, like Sister Wives, right? And it'll be like ex-Mormon marries multiple husbands to stick it to the church. I don't know. Step 1 to move to BC, Canada, be wealthy. The joke is that BC stands for bring cash. That being said, I'm poor as shit and I live here. It is possible to live here and not be wealthy, but if you want to live well here or just even like own an apartment, yeah, you need to be doing pretty well. Like a townhouse here is over $1 million. The pot's going right. Yeah. It's just for that one message. That being said, if any of your ancestors were Canadian, apparently you can use that to get citizenship. And if any of you are healthcare workers, please move here. Please do. Okay. Shall we read one more chapter? Okay. Aw, Nick. Well, that's very sweet. I mean, you can't buy an apartment with it, but that is very sweet. You worked in healthcare before? You might be healthcare? Hell yeah. Get up here. Your grandfather's third wife was Canadian? If it was your grandfather, that maybe could have worked. You're willing to train? Hell yeah. Okay. Chapter 25. The next day, the 30th of October. Ooh, getting close to Halloween. Oh no, our tax. Wait, is your foot broken? Are you going to check on the kittens? Oh my god, our tax. Yeah, the kittens need you. I don't know, Mortem. They're kind of giving the opposite they're sending the opposite message. So, no. The next day, the 30th of October, everything was prepared for the proposed exploration, which these last events had made so necessary. Indeed, as things had turned out, the colonists could well imagine themselves in a condition to give, rather than to receive, help. It was agreed that they ascend the Mersey as far as practicable. They would thus be able to transport their arms and provisions a good part of the way without fatigue. It was also necessary to think not only of what they now carried, but of what they might perhaps bring back to Granite House. If, as all thought, there had been a shipwreck on the coast, they would find many things they wanted on the shore, and the cart would doubtless have proved more convenient than the canoe. But the cart was so heavy and unwieldy that it would have been too hard work to drag it, which fact made Pencroff regret that the box had not only held his half-pound of tobacco, but also a pair of stout New Jersey horses, which would have been so useful to the colony. The provisions, already packed by Neb, consisted of enough dried meat, beer, and fermented liquor to last them for the 3 days which Smith expected they would be absent. Moreover, they counted on being able to replenish their stock at need along the route, and Neb had taken care not to forget the portable stove. They took the 2 wood choppers' hatchets to aid in making their way through the thick forest, and also the glass and the pocket compass. Of the arms, they chose the 2 flintlock guns in preference to the others, as the colonists could always renew the flints, whereas the caps could not be replaced. Nevertheless, they took one of the carbines and some cartridges. As for the powder, the barrels held 50 pounds, and it was necessary to take a certain amount of that, but the engineer expected to manufacture an explosive substance by which it could be saved in the future. To the firearms, they added the 5 cutlasses in leather scabbards, and, thus equipped, the party could venture into the forest with some chance of success. Aw, Zen, thank you for watching on YouTube. I appreciate it. Armed in this manner, Pencroff, Herbert, and Neb had all they could desire, although Smith made them promise not to fire a shot unnecessarily. At 6 o'clock, the party, accompanied by Top, started for the mouth of the Mersey. The tide had been rising half an hour, and there were therefore some hours yet of the flood which they could make use of. The current was strong, and they did not need to row to pass rapidly up between the high banks and the river. In a few minutes, the explorers had reached the turn where, 7 months before, Pencroff had made his first raft. Having passed this elbow, the river, flowing from the southwest, widened out under the shadow of the grand evergreen conifers, and Smith and his companions could not but admire the beautiful scenery. As they advanced, the species of forest trees changed. On the right bank rose splendid specimens of Almaceae, those valuable elms so much sought after by builders, which have the property of remaining sound for a long time in water. There was also numerous groups belonging to the same family, among them the mycoculiares, the root of which produces a useful oil. Herbert discovered some Lardizabalaceae, whose flexible branches, soaked in water, furnish excellent ropes, and 2 or 3 trunks of ebony of a beautiful black color, curiously veined. From time to time, where landing was easy, the canoe stopped, and Spilett, Herbert, and Pencroff, accompanied by Top, explored the bank. In addition to the game, Herbert thought that he might meet with some useful little plant which was not to be despised, and the young naturalist was rewarded by discovering a sort of wild spinach and numerous specimens of the genus cabbage, which would, doubtless, bear transplanting. They were cresses, horseradishes, and a little velvety spreading plant 3 feet high, bearing brownish-colored seeds. "Do you know what this is?" asked Herbert of the sailor. "Tobacco," cried Pencroff, who had evidently never seen the plant, which he fancied so much. "No, Pencroff," answered Herbert, "it's not tobacco. It's mustard." "Only mustard?" exclaimed the other. "Well, if you happen to come across a tobacco plant, my boy, do not pass it by." "We will find it someday," said Spilett. "All right," cried Pencroff, "and then I will be able to say that the island lacks nothing." Women? No, not important? Not important. All right. Fine. That's fine. Whatever. These plants were taken up carefully and carried back to the canoe, where Cyrus Smith had remained absorbed in his own thoughts. The reporter, Herbert, and Pencroff made many of these excursions, sometimes on the right bank of the Mercy and sometimes upon the left. The latter was less abrupt, but more wooded. The engineer found, by reference to the pocket compass, that the general direction of the river from its bend was southwest, and that it was nearly straight for about 3 miles. But it was probable that the direction would change further up, and that it would flow from the spurs of Mount Franklin, which fed its waters in the northwest. During one of these excursions, Spilett caught a couple of birds with long, slim beaks, slender necks, short wings, and no tails, which Herbert called tinnimus, and which they resolved should be the first occupants of the future poultry yard. But the first report of a gun that echoed through the forests of the far west was provoked by the sight of a beautiful bird, resembling a kingfisher. "I know it!" cried Pencroff. "What do you know?" asked the reporter. "That bird. It is the bird which escaped on our first exploration. The one after which we named this part of the forest." "A jacamar!" exclaimed Herbert. It was indeed one of those beautiful birds whose harsh plumage is covered with a metallic luster. Some small shot dropped it to the earth, and Top brought it, and also some turricularies, climbing birds the size of pigeons, to the canoe. The honor of this first shot belonged to the lad, who was pleased enough with the result. The turricularies were better game than the jacamar, the flesh of the latter being, I think that's supposed to say flesh, the flesh of the latter being tough, but it would have been hard to persuade Pencroff that they had not killed the most delicious of birds. Tears of Destiny, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Hello, hello. It was 10 o'clock when the canoe reached the second bend of the river, some 5 miles from the mouth. Here they stopped half an hour under the shadow of the trees for breakfast. There are no women in the group, Deep Fried. Also, hello to the other Sean over on YouTube. Hello, hello. The river measured from 60 to 70 feet in width and was 5 or 6 feet deep. The engineers had remarked its several affluents, but they were simply unnavigable streams. The forests of the far west, or jacamar wood, extended farther than they could see, but nowhere could they detect the presence of man. If, therefore, any persons had been shipwrecked on the island, they had not yet quitted the shore, and it was not in those thick coverts that search must be made for the survivors. The engineer began to manifest some anxiety to get to the western coast of the island, distant, as he calculated, about 5 miles or less. The journey was resumed, and although the course of the Mercy, sometimes towards the shore, was oftener towards the mountain, it was thought better to follow it as long as possible, on account of the fatigue and loss of time incident to hewing a way through the wood. Soon, the tide having attained its height, Herbert and Neb took the oars, and Pencroft the paddle. Sorry, this book has some typos in it. I'm just gonna... It says WAD. W-A-D. I'm going to guess it's supposed to be and. And they continued the ascent by rowing. It seemed as if the forest of the far west began to grow thinner, but as the trees grew farther apart, they profited by the increased space and attained a splendid growth. "Eucalypti!" cried Herbert, descrying some of these superb plants, the loftiest giants of the extratropical zone, the congeners of the eucalypti of Australia and New Zealand, both of which countries were situated in the same latitude as Lincoln Island. Some rose 200 feet in height and measured 20 feet in circumference, and their bark, 5 fingers in thickness, exuded an aromatic resin. Ooh, that's a good tree to... Do they really get that big? Do eucalyptus trees get that big? Man. Your voice is so soothing. I'm going to sleep. Oh, Loki, sleep well. Sleep well, Loki. Thank you for hanging out. I didn't know they got that big. That's crazy. This is a good, for like, if they ever get sick or whatever, like it's got medicinal properties. That was like 8 feet in diameter. Wow. I didn't know. I've never seen one in person. Wow. Oh, crazy. They smell like cat piss? What? They don't smell like eucalyptus oil? I imagined that they would smell like eucalyptus oil. I mean, I've definitely like used things with eucalyptus in it. Equally wonderful. Let me try that again. The leaves smell like eucalyptus oil. The bark stinks like stale pea. Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Okay, that's fair. Okay. Damn. Words. What are they? Let's talk about it. Equally wonderful were the enormous specimens of myrtle, their leaves extending edgewise to the sun and permitting its rays to penetrate and fall upon the ground. "What trees!" exclaimed Neb. "Are they good for anything?" "Pshaw," answered Pencroft. "They're like overgrown men, good for nothing but to show in fairs." "I think you're wrong, Pencroft," said Spilett. "The eucalyptus wood is beginning to be extensively used in cabinet work." "And I am sure," added Herbert, "that it belongs to a most useful family." And thereupon the young naturalist enumerated many species of the plant and their uses. Hi, Shay. Hello. Everyone listened to the lad's lesson in botany, Smith smiling, Pencroft with an indescribable pride. "Well, that's all very well, Herbert," answered the sailor, but I dare swear that of all these useful specimens, none are as large as these. That is so. Then that proves what I said, replied the sailor, that giants are good for nothing. Can we vote Pencroff off the island? He's the only one that complains. He's never satisfied. Fucking Pencroff. Well, that's where you're wrong, Pencroff, said the engineer. These eucalypti are good for something. For what? To render the country healthy about them. Do you know what they call them in Australia and New Zealand? No, sir. They call them fever trees. Because they give it? No. Because they prevent it. Oh, good. I shall make a note of that, said the reporter. Note then, my dear Spilett, that it has been proved that the presence of these trees neutralizes marsh miasmas. They have tried this natural remedy in certain unhealthy parts of Europe and northern Africa with the best results. And there are no intermittent fevers in the region of these forests, which is a fortunate thing for us colonists of Lincoln Island. Oh, what a blessed island, cried Pencroff. It would lack nothing if it was not. That will come, Pencroff. We will find it, answered the reporter. But now, let us attend to our work and push on as far as we can get with the canoe. He's cranky due to the lack of tobacco? Bro, he's been off the baccy for like 7 months. Surely he's past the crankiness of quitting. There's a really good brand of tonic water called Fever Tree. I feel like I'd feel weird drinking something called that. You're older as of 16 minutes ago. Is it your birthday? Is your birthday? It's just turning into your birthday? Shay the Bean? Oh my god. Shay, are you gonna be around for a little bit? Because we're just gonna finish this chapter. And then is just ending Leia's birthday? And it's just becoming your birthday? And you both need nut slides. No, Shay, I didn't mean like that. Oh my goodness, but happy birthday, happy birthday. Because yes, definitely want to give you a proper celebratory birthday nut slide. But yeah, let's finish the chapter first, and then we will be switching over into ASMR triggers, and we will dole out the nuts. But I'm so glad you could join us. I'm so glad you could join us, and I'm glad you made it through that surgery. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see. But now let us attend to our work and push on as far as we can get with the canoe. They continued on through the woods 2 miles further, the river becoming more winding, shallow, and so narrow that Pencroff pushed along with a pole. The sun was setting, and as it would be impossible to pass in the darkness through the 5 or 6 miles of unknown wood which the engineer estimated lay between them and the coast, it was determined to camp wherever the canoe was obliged to stop. Oh, you only need 1 party tit. That's the minimum, you know. You got 1 party tit. It's always 1 party tit. You got 1 chill tit to calm your tits. You calm 1 tit, you keep the party tit. Oh, Shay. I'm so glad you're here with us. They now pushed on without delay through the forest, which grew more dense and seemed more inhabited, because if the sailor's eyes did not deceive him, he perceived troops of monkeys running among the underbrush. Sometimes 2 or 3 of these animals would halt at a distance from the canoe and regard its occupants, as if, seeing men for the first time, they had not then learned to fear them. It would have been easy to have shot some of these quadrumanes, but Smith was opposed to the useless slaughter. Pencroff, however, looked upon the monkey from a gastronomic point of view. And indeed, as these animals are entirely herborivorous, they make excellent game, but since provisions abounded, it was useless to waste the ammunition. Towards 4 o'clock, the navigation of the Mercy became very difficult, its course being obstructed by rocks and aquatic plants. The banks rose higher and higher, and already the bed of the stream was confined between the outer spurs of Mount Franklin. Its sources could not be far off, since the waters were fed by the southern watershed of that mountain. "Before a quarter of an hour we'll have to stop, sir," said Pencroff. "Well then, we will make a camp for the night." "How far are we from Granite House?" asked Herbert. "About 7 miles, counting the bends of the river which have taken us to the northwest." "Shall we keep on?" asked the reporter. "Yes, as far as we can get," answered the engineer. "Tomorrow, at daylight, we will leave the canoe and traverse, in 2 hours, I hope, the distance which separates us from the coast, and then we will have nearly a whole day in which to explore the shore." "Push on!" cried Pencroff. Very soon, the canoe grated on the stones at the bottom of the river, which was not more than 20 feet wide. A thick mass of verdure overhung and descended the stream, and they heard the noise of a waterfall, which indicated that some little distance further on there existed a natural barrier. It was 5 o'clock, and the level rays of the setting sun illuminated the little fall. Above, the Mercy supplied... Oh, stupid commas in the wrong place. Above the Mercy, supplied from a secret source, was... Wait, what? Wait, above, the Mercy, supplied from a secret source, was hidden by the bushes. The various streams together had made it a river, but here it was but a shallow, limpid brook. They made camp in this lovely spot. Having disembarked, a fire was lighted under a group of micocouliers, in whose branches Smith and his companions could, if need be, find a refuge for the night. Supper was soon finished, as they were very hungry, and there was nothing to do but to go to sleep. But some suspicious growling being heard at nightfall, the fire was so arranged as to protect the sleepers by its flames. Neb and Pencroff kept it lit, and perhaps they were not mistaken in believing to have seen some moving shadows among the trees and bushes. But the night passed without accident, and the next day, the 31st of October, by 5 o'clock, all were on foot, ready for the start. End of chapter. End of chapter. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like monkeys are in the do not eat zone. I mean, definitely apes, but I don't think I have no interest in eating monkeys. That feels wrong. Feels wrong. Eating, like, apes would feel like borderline cannibalistic. You'd eat a whole tribe of apes before you ate a dog? Really? Interesting. Oh, Christ. Nim didn't even flinch. I knocked over the nutstick and it fell over and like hit the top of the little fence that separates them from the living room. Nim is just lying down with both her back legs kicked out in a full sploot. And she just has not. Is it 'cause you ate for like an hour straight? Yeah? Is that why? No, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Don't worry. Mortem, I've kind of been taking the stance of not reading viewers' writing on stream. I've had several requests before, and it's just, I'd want to vet them beforehand, and then it just like brings up awkwardness about like if I say yes to one person but no to another, and it's just, I hate conflict, so I've just kind of decided to go with the like, no, I'm not reading viewers. It could be that there's like a pre-organized event in the future where I do, but for now it's just easier for me to set that blanket rule rather than have to like stress about like individual. Yeah, okay, thanks for understanding. That being said, we do have a writing channel in the Discord, and although it's not like a guaranteed feedback place, you are welcome to share your writing over there, and there's a chance that you'll get feedback from people in the community. So you are welcome to post it in the Discord if you'd like. Yeah. Okay. Group chat writing. Do you mean the collaborative storytelling? No, that's gonna be before the next PP time. That'll be before then. That'll be this summer for sure. For sure. It's gonna be, well, honestly, my plan was that June was gonna be fucking packed. After having a bunch of tech issues, right? I'm like, I got the PC, and now my PC's giving me issues again, and I can't promise that anymore because I don't know how it's going to disrupt my schedule. But hopefully we can still pack a lot into June, and then also July and August. But you can't wait till September to pee. That's okay. You have to wait till then to PP. Oh dear. YouTube listeners are going to be like, what have we wandered into? But speaking of YouTube and PPs, look, usually when we say PP, we are talking about the Plus program over on Twitch. But I am currently trying to qualify for the YouTube Partner Program, the YouTube PP, as it were, and you all can help me get there by subscribing to the channel, and also watching videos. And the watch hours are good whether you're watching the streams live from YouTube, whether you're watching the VODs after the fact. I've got books in playlists, so it's easy to just like line up a bunch of videos and have them playing in the background, so that's all very much appreciated. Hi Sinful, good to see you. Laying down now, not to sleep? Well, I hope it's cozy and restful regardless, Vengeful. Okay, now we are going to be wrapping up this YouTube stream here, but stream in general is not over. We're going to keep going on Twitch. I'm going to take a few minutes of break. My back is hurting and I need a good stretch and to eat the other half of my protein bar. Because, gosh darn it, I've earned it. And then I'll be going live on the other YouTube channel as well as continuing on Twitch. And we will do some traditional ASMR triggers, get super cozy, send some of you off to sleep, and deliver 2 very exciting nut slides for some birthday action. So, your college placement exam is tomorrow. You got this. You got this, Slightly Sinful. Heck yeah. Hi, Tyra. Okay. Yes. Oh, thank you, Sean. Yes. Like and subscribe. Now, if everything goes well, I will be back on Tuesday evening. However, come here a little bit. However, this is really important, okay? I'm having PC issues. There's a chance over the next few weeks, as I trial and error some things, it's possible that I won't be able to multi-stream. So if you are from the YouTube side of things and you really don't want to miss anything, make sure you're following on Twitch. However, probably if I can't multi-stream, I won't read the book, okay? We'll do other more like just ASMR content, okay? So you won't miss out on the reading, but just so you know, if I'm missing the schedule, which is Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, if I'm missing any of those, it's because shit's going on. And you can always get that information by checking in on Twitch and also joining the Discord. So, there you go. There you go. Okay. So, if you're on Twitch, don't go anywhere. If you're on YouTube, I'm gonna say goodnight now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Mm-hmm.